G'day, Alex here from Tactical Arbitrage, and in this settings video we're going to talk about the Viewing Limits tab and setting limits. So what are these limits and how do they affect our usage of Tactical Arbitrage? So as we read along each one, I'll explain it. The first one says, show the number of lines on view data by default. Okay, this one's fairly straightforward. And when you come across to view data, you can see that it also shows here, show 100 results per page. You have the option of showing 10 per page, 25, 50, or 100. And it is one of the few things that an older computer can actually be affected by adjusting this. The speed of viewing the data on the page can be affected by an older computer, and it is one of the few settings that I would recommend you tweak if you are running an older processor computer. Most other functions within Tactical Arbitrage all operate on the servers or in the cloud, whatever you like to call it, and aren't as important, but some of this viewing images on the page here is locally cached. So if you are having troubles with pages loading slower, you might want to drop this back to say 25 or something like that. And I can do that now. And as you can see, it's affected the number of items on the page accordingly. Now, a change on this page will actually also affect the change in the settings. If I was to refresh this page, and you'll see that the show number of lines on view data by default is now changed to 25 as well. This is affected on the other view pages as well, such as view reverse, view wholesale, etc. Now, crop product titles on view data by default. So this is kind of interesting, and it comes down to this title box here, this thin title box here, which says Roblox Mystery Figures Series 2. Now, if I've got something which is longer than 60 characters, if I scroll down here, we've got Marvel Spider-Man Homecoming Spider-Man with Spider Racer, and it wants to go on a bit. If I mouse over it, I can see everything. It's the last word there was vehicle. But because I've actually got this set for 60 characters, I'm not seeing the entire title. That's kind of to save you from these really long, blown out rows due to titles that are crazily written. Usually that happens when somebody's putting a private label product up there and they feel like they've got a keyword load that title out of control proportions. So let me go and change this to show you what we can do here. We can do 30 characters, 90, 120, or don't crop it at all, like show us everything. I think 60 is a nice amount, but if I drop that back to 30, you'll see what happens. If I come across here and I'll refresh this page, you'll see a lot more chopped off titles now. Here we go, Roblox Mystery Figures Series 2 is there if I do the mouse over, and 30 is really not enough in my opinion. I like to see that 60, and I'm going to set that back on 60 now. Product title cell width on view data by default. So it's currently set for auto, and as you can see, that's a fairly thin amount of data there. You will also notice that this doesn't just affect the source title, but also the Amazon title. These are both set for 30 characters right now. I've changed this to 60, so that will take effect on my next save. But I'm going to also play around now with the title cell width. And you may particularly want to be doing these adjustments if you're using a small device like an iPad, for instance. You might want to keep these rows nice and thin. Or if you're using a large screen computer like I am, you might want to adjust this to see more pixel width as well. So I'm going to change that to 60 characters, and I'm going to now adjust that title cell width to 200 pixels. And you'll see how this changes once I do a refresh. First I'm going to save this, and I'm going to come back here and I'm going to refresh this page. And you'll see that the titles are now, they're longer, they're 200 pixels wide, and that gives us a bit more room to read the title more clearly. 200 pixels is a good width there, I think, for this screen, so I'm going to leave it at that. Although I do have options here to adjust that to suit my particular preference. Product image default size on view data. Now, of course, you can always get a bigger image by doing the mouse over solution. However, if you also find that you would prefer these images to be smaller, just by default, I can reduce this to say small, hit save, come across. I like them as big as I can myself, so I keep it at big. You can have them even tinier. The mouse overs, of course, still work, but if screen real estate is important to you, you might want to keep these small and then do the mouse overs. There's nothing to stop you from putting these side by side so that you can do those easy to, beg your pardon, easy to check mouse overs there. These little Hulk guys are definitely the same, whether they're a small image or a large image, and that's easy to spot. There's not much left on here. I'm going to go back to my preference again, which is large, and crop product note on view wholesale. So eventually we hope to roll the product note out to all of our pages, but you can on view wholesale read the notes right there on the view wholesale page, and this is again a cropping title tool. The last one we've got here is show the days range in a keeper graph for the Amazon flips by default. So we've got 90 days there by default. So what this will mean is that if I go manage columns, show me the keeper graphs please, and I hit save. If I come across to the keeper graphs here, you will see that underneath the keeper graph, it is the 90-day option has been selected. Now, 90 days is a really good indication of seeing the last 3 months of keeper, although I usually like to leave this set on the 31-day option. And to do that, I can go across here and simply select 31 days as my preferred range of data when looking at the keeper graphs there. So that are the limits that you can set in the settings option in Tactical Arbitrage. I do recommend you play around with those and get a style that suits you best. Enjoy. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.